The Buffalo, Frank Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Do they still have those buffalo?
I think he's got one.
Yeah, he had a bunch of them at one time.
I want to go out there with Mr. Benny Pickard, and he was feeding the Bramers one day, and he was right there in the middle of them, and I'd love to have taken a picture of that from the bed of his truck.
I rode by the other day some Longhorns, and boy, those are beautiful cows out there in the pasture. I forgot where it was. I forgot where I was.
Bell Road, maybe?
Right.
Was it Bell Road? No, it was Pike Road.
Probably was.
On the left.
Yeah.
Before you get to Walgreens.
Yeah. Of course, we got a lot to talk about today. A lot going on in sports, and of course, baseball this weekend, and we got softball, and we've got high school ball, and we've got a whole list of events going on this week in Troy, Alabama. This weekend in Troy, Alabama. Bryce, what's going on, brother?
Well, I'm looking forward to the weekend, and looking forward to Troy Fest. Looking forward to trying to lose some more weight on my little diet.
You've done well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've taken, what do they call them, free days? I've given myself a couple of free days where I go off the program, but for the most part I've stayed on it for about 40 days now.
Well, gosh, that is pretty good, right?
Thank you.
And it was mostly a Atkins type diet?
Low carb, a lot of cheese and eggs and meat and asparagus.
Well, that's pretty good
green.
eating, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing I like about it is you can eat as much as you want of the things you eat.
Yeah.
So I don't get 2 eggs, I get 5 or 6 eggs.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you know, I like an omelet, you know, too. And it's a great thing to do on a.
You know what's tough though? You still want some grits or hash browns with that omelet.
Oh yeah.
And you want some toast with that omelet.
Put a little Kelly sausage on some of that.
Well, I can have all the Kelly sausage. Matter of fact, I had some Kelly sausage last night.
Really? Oh, well, that's good. There's no question about it. Of course, we've got the guru for information is on our show today. Forrest Lee, what do you got, bud?
Well, let me interject something. Today would have been my mother's 86th birthday.
Oh, man.
Bonnie Faye McLeod Lee, sweet, beautiful lady. She grew up in Crenshaw County between Goshen and Vidette. And she went to Vidette Elementary School, middle school, and she went to school with Ed Barnett and Billy Ray Norman.
Oh, yeah, that was a great class.
Graduate of Luverne High School. And let me tell you a story how my mother and Dad met. Daddy was invited to a birthday party with one of his buddies, but it was Mother's birthday party. She was dating the other guy.
Yeah.
Well, Mama didn't like it that he showed up for her birthday party. Well, all he did, he went back to the kitchen and sat there and talked with her mother and Daddy, Lewis and Polly McLeod.
Oh, yeah.
They fell in love with him, so
gosh.
that's kind of how they got together. Yeah. And anyway, today is National Earth Day, National Jelly Bean Day, and I don't really particularly care for jelly beans.
Oh, I do. I like jelly beans.
And it's Take Your Daughter and Son to Work Day. Of course, we've already mentioned the Troy Fest this weekend. We hope the weather cooperates. But last night, the Lady Trojans of Troy University split with Georgia Tech. We lost the first game 4-2. They bounced back and won the next game 9-5. The Lady Trojans of Troy University are 30-10 overall, 13-3 in the conference. They travel to Appalachian State this weekend. The men will host Appalachian State this weekend, and the men's record in Troy baseball is 16-19 overall, 4-8 in the conference, and we hope that they can bounce back. And
they play Jacksonville next week, don't they?
They play them again next week. Yes, so we lost to them, but they'll play them again next week, and then the following weekend they travel to Florida State.
Oh, yeah.
The men's baseball team.
Mentioned right. Today is Earth Day.
Earth Day.
The people that gave us Earth Day are no doubt the big boosters and proponents of man-made global warming, to which I would ask them today, how is that global warming today? There.
Shake the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
You want me to go over some baseball pairings, or you want me to wait?
Yeah, no. We've got a call coming in later on in the show.
All right, here we go. Locally, Choctaw County's at Kinston. Milry is at Brantley. These games will be Friday. There will be a doubleheader on Friday, all these games, and if needed, if they split on Friday, they'll play again Saturday, most of the time around 12 or 1, to see who wins best 2 out of 3. That's 1A. In 2A, we got several local teams in 2A baseball. Randolph County travels and will play Luverne. I recommend you go to Chicken Shack. Orange Beach will travel to Ayrton. Ayrton won that region or area over G.W. Long. George W. Long will travel to St. Luke's Episcopal in the Mobile area. Highland Home travels to Ranburne. New Brockton travels to T.R. Miller. T.R. Miller is 25-1.
Wow, pretty good.
Yes, and Flomaton will travel to Opp. In, I believe, 4A or 5. This, I think, is 4A. W.S. Neal travels to Dale County. And in 5A, the Trojans of Charles Henderson High School, they finished the season 11-14. They will travel to UMS Wright Prep. Those games on Friday will be 4 o'clock and 6:30, and if necessary at noon on Saturday. LaFleur is 6-10. They travel to Rehoboth. Rehoboth is 21-3. And the AISA playoffs, I believe, in baseball start tomorrow. I think Pike Liberal Art has got to wait to see who wins before, they received
last year they did not determine a state championship,
no,
did they?
No, they did
of course,
not.
Everybody that knew anything about baseball, high school baseball around here, just knew Pike Liberal was going to win again. That would have been for the second or third time.
Three-peat.
And this year they're going to, this next week they start.
So they can get another chance to three-peat.
No problem.
Guten Morgen.
Morning. Mike Amos calling in from Grayton Beach this morning. What kind of weather you got down there? You got sunshiny weather?
Yeah, the sun's out. A little chilly. It's not as cold as Troy. That Troy's 41 this morning.
I know it. It is real cold.
Grayton Beach is 52. Mountain Brook is 37.
There are a lot of record lows yesterday and today for this date. So I heard on the radio yesterday that somebody was going to go play baseball against Missouri, and it was supposed to snow. And
oh God!
Cincinnati or someplace in Ohio was supposed to have 6 or 7 inches of snow. So
I'm going to wake up in the big city of Mountain Brook in the morning.
In the morning, you got to do Troy. The Troy.
No, that has been canceled because of cold weather.
Okay.
And another thing, I've got to be at a funeral early Friday morning.
That's right. Avery Clinic.
Avery
good
Clinic.
Man.
That's right.
Hey, Mike, I also wanted to mention good luck to the Lady Patriots of Pike Liberal Arts. Both the varsity and JV girls will compete in Orlando at the United Cheer Association National Cheer Competition. The varsity squad members are Addie Garrett, Reagan Brown, Abby K. Terry, Dee Allen, Ella Kate Gunter, Claire Lindsay, Emma Carr, Tate Gardner, Sarah Braden Garrett, and Caroline Sin. Their coaches are Hannah Jordan and Brittany Royal. The JV cheerleaders are Emma Sanders, Ellie Stevens, Kate Nelson, Ava Leverett, Caroline Lindsay, Nikki Hopper, Sydney Scott, Alan Wilson, Kenzie Beth Ray, Kinsley Simmons, Caroline Renfro. I wonder if she could punt. Check out Caroline Renfro. She's got to be Al's daughter.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And their coach is Lexi Terry, and Lexi Terry, and their coach is Katie Scott. And I got that information from Candace Nelson. And so good luck to the girls. And they'll have
I tell you this,
safe travel to and fro.
Yeah, what a trip
down
for
there.
What a trip for this group of girls. You know, I bet there's a few girls that have never been to Disney World that are going to get to go.
Good for them.
I think this is the first time in 15 years since they went to a national competition.
Well, they dominate in the AIS. You know, that's a sport, and we talk about all the state championships the football, baseball, and basketball team have won, but we need to include the cheerleaders too. They
if they won this year,
state
I would think that was 8 in a row. I want to say it was 8 years in a row that they've won this thing.
Well, I want to I'll try to get the list of the new Charles Simpson High School cheerleaders, and I know they've had their tryouts and they've been named. I think they've got about 20 or 22 this year.
God, that many. That's wonderful.
And
yeah, that's always been Dad's cry over the years. He's always said have as many cheerleaders as possible.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the reason I'm saying that is if you got 25 cheerleaders, you got a mama and a daddy, a grandmama and a granddaddy on both sides. You got aunts and uncles on both sides. They bring probably about 10, 15 people per cheerleader.
Same with the band. Same with the band.
And the band and the majorettes.
That's right.
And
do the same thing.
Do they even have majorettes anymore? I mean, it used to be that.
It used to be
10 at Charles Henderson, and boy, the Sounds of the South would have how many? 20.
Yeah. I tell you what, and the same way with the band, if you had, well, we should have more than 100, but if we had 100, same scenario. You know, they bring them and everybody comes, and the same way with the young cheerleaders, and you can put together a large group, and hopefully Charles Henderson will put together a large group this year.
Yeah, I want to wish good luck to Braden Presswood. He's playing golf somewhere today. He's trying to earn his way into the state playoffs. I think there's 12 of them competing for one of 4 slots to go to the state championships in golf as an individual. The teams have already been set. You know, there's only one golfer at Charles Citizen this year, and Gene Allen and his golfing crew.
Isn't that a shame that you don't have any more?
They had a good group last year, but Pike Little Arts, Gene Allen and his group are going. I talked to him briefly yesterday. They're going to play in a match today. I think it might be Montgomery. And I think they've already qualified for the state championship.
You know, if I was a coach over there, I would like to put together a golf team so I could go play golf. You know, coaches play too. You know, they get to play too, and you know, it makes it a lot of fun.
Well, going to golf, the new coach from Kansas that was on the offensive line that came to Troy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. That
he's on our staff now. Yeah.
All right. His daughter is a pretty good golfer, and she's at Pike Lib, but she's already had her season this past fall, so she was ineligible to play for Pike Lib this year, but she'll be able to play next year, and I think that will strengthen their team somewhat.
You know, if I was I do have a daughter, I might get those daughters playing golf, because if you can break 85 on a regular basis, you can probably get a college scholarship, because I mean, there's not exactly a lot of girls playing golf, so you're not competing against many people for those scholarships.
Yeah, we've had Lindsay Lee. There was what was the girl from the Mitchell girl? Allison Mitchell.
Yeah, she was really good.
Real good.
We had a Sanders girl at one time that originally was from Arkansas, and the girl from Pike Liberal Arts, Katie I can't place her name, but there is a young lady who was a golfer at Troy University on their golf team. She just graduated. She's trying to develop a youth golf program at the Brundage Country Club, starting in May, the first Monday in May, every Monday during the summer, once a month, where she can have a little clinic for youth golf.
Yeah, I'll send Maggie. Good deal.
That's good. That's good. Well, of course, this is what a lot of people call the biggest weekend of the year in Troy, Alabama, when they celebrate Troy Fest, and of course, this is one of the great events in most everybody's calendar that loves our community and loves to see our folks get out and enjoy the great weather, and hopefully we'll have the great weather.
It's not looking good on weather. It looks like 100% chance of rain on Saturday with lightning and thunder. So I don't know how you're going to have a festival with that going on, but maybe it's going to be early and get out of here.
Michael, did you see that report on Alabama.com that Saban said they had 20 players that didn't play because of injuries or, on the men, but there's probably 12 guys that will be either starting or backups that did not play in the game Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Rice thinks this might be COVID related. I kind of think so too, because a lot of these guys weren't even dressed out on the sideline.
They weren't even there. Yeah.
What do you mean?
They were not available. Was the words not used? So I mean, reading between the lines, that would be the obvious conclusion.
Did you go to the game, Rice?
Nope. Nope. I would have liked to. They've got this new big elephant statue. Did you hear about that?
No.
Well, you're getting ready to.
Didn't they move that from North River?
Yeah, I never saw it at North River, but it was a
7
21-foot tall, 7-ton, 9-ton elephant that was on display at North River Yacht Club for the last 20 years, and that somebody had the great idea to move that thing to where it needs to be, which is in front of the stadium.
That's right.
It cost $430,000 to buy it and move it and set it up. And one of the big financial donors that made this possible was Coach Bill Battle and his wife, and then another couple. But it is now set up on a nice pedestal right down, going towards the Sigma Nu House on that side of the stadium. And it looks awesome. I mean, it is really landscaped around it. It's on a 5-foot high pedestal, and it goes up 26 feet high. A giant roaring elephant. I mean, can you think of a better place to have that?
I hope that Bill Battle will get some recognition for this. He's been ill, and hopefully he's better now. But I don't know his medical situation, but. Don't you know the love for Alabama was written all over moving that elephant,
He is a
there's some big time money in North River. Man, that's a impressive place. I've been to a lot of events up there, and you don't even realize that's even in Tuscaloosa. It's like Jack Warner Parkway out that way, and
Jack Warner was one of the wealthiest, and
he probably developed that place, didn't he?
I mean, unbelievable statues and artwork and all kinds of stuff out there, and the grounds are like going on Augusta or something like that.
What river is that?
Black Warrior.
Black Warrior.
It's a great. It's one of the.
Yeah, I mean, Lake Tuscaloosa is really nice too. We've got friends that have houses there. It's a lot of fun.
Nick Saban's got a house. I saw it. His house. It's the first house in his little subdivision. It wasn't that far from Bobby's house when he lived in Tuscaloosa. You could ride right by it and see it. And I knew that, Saban always takes his freshmen out on the boat on Lake Tuscaloosa when they come to school. I said, well, I just wanted to see how is this house situated to this lake. Well, as it turns out, the front of the house isn't even, it's looking at a road. But back through the woods, through a trail about, 200 yards is the lake going down the hill. So you got to have golf carts to get back there. And then he's got his pier and his boat. So it's a big piece of property. But so I guess you could say technically he's on the lake.
Does his house back up to the lake or to the golf course?
The rear, no, to the lake. The rear of his house or through the woods ends up at the lake.
I bet there's a lot of security around it. So
I didn't get that feeling though. I could have gone up and knocked on the door.
Yeah, my friend.
Get an article on ESPN.com about how the tornado, affected Saban's, I guess, kind of attitude for staying in Tuscaloosa and being a part of the community. I think Alex Scarborough wrote an article, a really good article. If anybody hadn't read that, because a lot of people thought Saban was going to leave at one point, and then after that he got involved in the community, and I think him and his wife and their foundation, they have Nick's kids, but they've also built, I think I've read 30 houses since the tornado in 2011.
I think 18. There's one for every.
18.
Are both his kids adopted?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's an advocate of that. Up you see the commercial, and
They say his wife is quite a lady. Done wonders.
What's the joke that they have between each other where he says something about, you know what, we could be owning that service station? Or what was the story? And
they went back to their hometown in West Virginia, and he was teasing his wife because one of her former boyfriends now owned the service station in that town. And he said, look, if you would have married him, you would have had this gas station. She said, no, if I would have married him, he'd be the head football coach at Alabama right now.
Yeah, that's
oh, gosh. So it's, that tickles me. It is right now 7:21, and we've got, like we said, we have cool temperatures out there. Rice, what is it, 40, 41? What did you have it at, Mike?
It was cold yesterday. I had to come in yesterday.
41 in Troy. I imagine some kids walked outside and started screaming and hollering this morning, wondering where their jacket was.
I know it.
Now, Michael, this article that I'm going to mention may be in the Troy Messenger this weekend, but it's actually online today. It's an article about your dad and your mother and the circumstances of what happened to him during, that time he suffered a stroke. But it's in the Troy Messenger. It's a very unique and informative and heartwarming story
that one in WSFA did was really outstanding.
So you can go online and read it on TroyMessenger.com, and I'm hoping it will be written. It'll be in this weekend's issue.
Something that I get tickled about. People ask me what happened, and all that went on the whole time. But hey, I didn't know. Hey, that is the real strange thing. If I would have been gone from this earth, that would have been the way it was. I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks of death as being, I hate to, it's gonna be hurting or whatever. Hey, when you're gone, you're gone. And I was gone for a long time there until this doctor in Montgomery, he's a actual from India. He came in there and provided me with this wonderful new remedy for stroke. And
there was all the stars aligned perfectly. And Carol was at home to find you. She wanted to be.
Yeah.
She went to the right doctor at the right time.
That's right.
Oh God!
He said that this Balasetti, he specializes in minimally invasive techniques to diagnose and treat vascular diseases of the brain and spinal cord. He went through his groin area.
You're back on.
And took the catheter to his brain and pulled it out. And within hours, his family was visiting him, or Carol was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I said. I walked into the ICU, and the last thing in the world I was thinking is I was going to hear him talking already. So I heard him before I saw him.
See,
it was typical Mike Amos story.
Somebody told me while I was in there, they said that it was they were operated at 8 o'clock, and I was talking to the nurses at 10. So I finally came back. When I started talking to those hospital staff people, was when I came back from, let's say, from being
where
gone.
You were. Yeah, where you were. Yeah.
And it's a miracle, and I thank God so much for giving me the opportunity.
It's obviously what I would
stay on this earth.
We're getting deep here, but I mean, if something blocks your brain, that turns you off your whole consciousness.
That's right. Said you know what? When it came back, you could see it on the screen. When it came back, you could see where the clot was, and then after they had removed the clot, you could see that white area go into a area where you saw all kinds of vessels and everything, things operating again.
It's definitely a feel-good video. WSFA did a good job. I hope everybody got to see the full length segment. I know Bill posted it yesterday, and they initially posted a smaller version of it on 5 o'clock news, and then 10 o'clock ran the full version where you get to hear the doctor speak and talk about a lot of kind of what went into the thrombectomy surgery.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mom at the end ends it with saying, instead of, going to the nursing home to see my paralyzed husband or having funeral arrangements, we now get to go to the beach. And y'all are both laughing at the end when she says that. That's a pretty good feel-good video to watch.
I think what she said was she could now go to the beach.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. She said, yeah, now we get to go to the beach. And y'all both started laughing.
Well, your mother did the research. They're also interventionalists in Birmingham, Huntsville, Mobile, Dothan, and Montgomery. So we have 5 of them that Birmingham, Huntsville, Mobile, Dothan, and Montgomery. So, those guys are amazing.
So who wrote the article for the Messenger? My phone was not working. I couldn't hear you guys.
I don't know if I could pull it up, but
no, it was.
It was mine.
Yeah, it was Huck Treadwell. Huck Treadwell.
Huck Treadwell.
Yeah. And he's been around a long time. He just come back from North Alabama, where he was up there for about 10 years.
Everybody's coming back to Troy again. You got all these writers.
Got all these Rices here and everything.
Huck and I go back a long time.
Yeah.
When I was a young sports editor at the Troy Messenger. Huck was a young freelance stringer covering high school football games. We'd come in, we'd go cover our whatever games we had on Friday night, and then we'd come in Saturday morning and write our story.
Yeah.
Look at our little stats and notebooks, and then we would go to the Troy University football game and do it all over again.
Well, Dan Smith, sometimes he'll ask if I'll go with him, like if we're playing out of town to Mobile, Charles Simpson. He'll drive down there, and he'll ask me to drive back so he could sit in the passenger seat and type his story to have it in on time. Otherwise, if he goes by himself after the game, he's got to sit in his car and type up the article then send it in and be home 2 or 3 hours later than normal.
That is.
So is his real name Huckleberry?
Huckleberry Finn, no.
Well, his real name is not. He is one of those people like Tip Colley and Hickey Chapman that is a nickname. Nobody. I think his real name is John. I've never known.
I never known it either.
The last time I saw Huck and Jane, I asked him that. I said, where did that name come from? And Jane said that was a nickname that she gave him because she liked Huckleberry Finn. And
something we know for sure is he is so lucky to have the wonderful mother that is so talented. I always call her the probably the guru of
and who before they had the Messenger had Jane, they had Fran Sharp. Remember, she was the one that wrote all the good feature stories.
So when will that article be out?
It's online today. I pulled it up today and printed it. I'm hoping it will still be in the Messenger. They have an edition on Wednesday, and then they have a weekend edition. So maybe it'll be in the weekend edition as well.
Yeah, it's now just 2 days a week. It used to be 5 days a week.
We have a caller coming in this morning from Auburn. His name's Lou Vickery. He's an old friend of mine, and he and I coached on the same staff at Charles Henderson that went all the way to the semifinals of the state championship.
Didn't y'all barely lose that game?
And that's right, to Russellville. We played Russellville and 10-7, and the kid had kicked the field goal and never kicked one in his life, and he did beat us at Charles Henderson. And that might be him calling right there. Mike, if you jump off a minute, we might.
No, I think we got him. Hello, you're on Today in L.A.
It's Lou Vickery.
All right.
We're just talking about you.
Well, I hope it was good. I tell everybody, look, I don't care whether you talk good about me or bad about me, just keep talking about me.
Yeah. Spell my name right is what they say.
Good morning, Lou. How you doing? Mike, this is Mike.
Who else? Mike, who do we have with us here? Who's the other fine gentleman?
Well,
you got Bill Rice Jr., and then you got Forrest Lee. So there's 3 of us on the panel, and then we got one on Zoom Mike's son Michael from Grayton Beach. So
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Yeah, he can.
Can y'all hear me okay?
There we go, real
that's
good.
better, yeah.
Good
Yeah,
morning,
all right.
and let me
I got
just tell you about who you're talking to. Lou Vickery, ladies and gentlemen, is old. Well, he actually was on the staff of a football team I coached on back years ago, and of course you hail from. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, Mike, I'm from Atmore originally. And by the way, with the names Lee and Rice and all that, you got a lot of old Troy people hanging around there. I mean, I remember back in my college days of Bill Jr.'s dad was university, somewhere along that time. But I left home at the age of 17, signed a professional baseball contract with the St. Louis Cardinals. And spent 9 seasons playing, and I was a pitcher. Ended up there in my rotator cuff in those days. They did not do surgery. They just rested it. Heck, then I couldn't break a window pane before I had the injury. I was really in trouble then. But
you know what I remember you of? It was a baseball card I had of you, and you played with the Yankees.
That's right. I started in the Cardinal organization and got traded to the Yankees winter of '64. And the Cardinals got 2 broken bats and 2 dirty old balls for me, and they ended up getting the best part of the deal.
Oh.
Did Chase sign you, Chase Riddle?
No, but Chase was a manager in the Cardinal organization. I was thinking last night, Mike, about that. I was scheduled to, he was managing at Winston-Salem, and it was my second year, and I was scheduled to go to Winston-Salem. I had pitched the previous year in the Class C ball, and it was a Class B team, but I did so well in spring training, they moved me all the way to Double A, so I skipped both A, B, and C. Well, I played C, but A and B, and so I went right on to Tulsa, and then the next year I went to Atlanta. I got to share a story with you real quickly. Today is an anniversary day of probably the longest triple in the history of baseball. Willie Stargell. I don't know. The young guys probably don't remember that.
Oh,
yeah. I can see him there in the Pittsburgh.
Roberto Clemente, Manny Seguin.
Well, in the old ballpark in Atlanta, at Mausoleum Park, had a magnolia tree that grew inside the park, and it was about 500 feet from home plate. That's how far it was to center field. Well, I hung a curveball. Stargell hit one. It hit in that tree. And it was in play.
Yeah.
And then our center fielder retrieved the ball, hit the shortstop, and they threw him out at home plate. So it was a 500-foot triple.
Oh boy, that was something. Of course, I know this, and of course, Lou Vickery was an outstanding athlete, but he coached on Jim Tompkins' coach team. It was William Davis and Lou Vickery and Mike Amos and James Gordon Flowers coached that team, and it was quite a team that lost in Russellville. You on that staff, weren't you, Lou?
Yeah, that's right. You know, Mike, we lost the first game of the season to Opp, and then we won 9 straight.
Yeah, that's right.
We went up to Russellville in the playoffs, and I'd never seen such a big group of kids, size-wise, as they had. And we got beat on the field goal.
That's right. It was the first field goal that kid had ever kicked, and it was about 37 yards of, and they won the game, and of course they went on the next week to win the state championship. But hey, we had a couple of guys named Marvin Barron, and we had Steve Flowers. You remember the catch he made in that game?
Oh, I do, and I remember also that their defensive back just tipped the ball on a long pass that our guy was behind him, and hey, that might have changed the complexion of the game. But.
That might have been the best team in Charles Simpson football.
I've got your schedule.
History.
I've got the scores.
Well,
Okay.
you know what? The interesting thing was that we were not very big. Marvin Berry was about 200-pounder. Went on to play at the University of Alabama. But we were really small, but they were gritty. I tell you, we had
a guy named James Davis, if you remember old James Davis.
I talked to James just recently, Mike, and he's doing well. And, you always have a special place in your heart. That was the only year that I coached and taught. I had been accustomed to making a little bit more money playing baseball, and I had a family, a wife and 2 children, so I went back to New York and then became a stockbroker after that. Yeah. But I really enjoyed that 1 year coaching and teaching. And
you're right. It was a great bunch of players, and Wayne Davis, and just so many.
Well, what I'm thinking, you lost to the team that went on to win the state championship. So if you don't,
that's right.
So if you don't lose that one, you probably win the state championship.
In fact, if you remember. And you remember the next week Russellville beat the team from Anniston, for the championship, 52-10.
The real state championship game was played the week before.
Yeah, the first game y'all lost to Opp 12-6.
Yeah, we lost to Opp.
Then Greenville, you defeated Greenville 21-6. You defeated Wetumpka 14-0. Andalusia, you defeated them 25-13. You beat Prattville 14-3. Pike County 42-0. Eufaula 8-0. Valley 28-17. Elba 28-14. Ashford 28-7. Then lost to Russellville 10-7.
The semifinals.
And that was 1968.
That's what it says here.
That was 1968, guys.
Well, everybody remember that. Put that team on your.
We had a guy named
list.
Ben Smith. You remember him, or Ben Smith, and
I tell you, I could probably go right down the line and make all of them.
And Ricky Thompson, the great Ricky Thompson. You remember him?
Yeah. I communicate with Ricky via social media.
He's a great guy. Yeah. Great.
Hey Lou, I'm seeing that you played 4 seasons in AAA ball, and your overall record was 59 and 50, which is really good.
Yeah.
Well,
how close did you get to being called up?
Well, I did get to the Yankees, and I got to a spring training. I went to spring training 3 times with major league teams.
Was Mickey there? Was Mickey in camp then?
Yeah, and one of the things, guys, that I want to share a little time with you on is my latest book. But my previous book is called Reach Beyond. It's still out. But I tell a story about Mickey Mantle. Let me tell you this quick story. Mickey dressed right across from me, and
oh gosh,
I did not have. I tell you what, you had to admire the guy because he.
It probably took him 30 minutes to dress, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Mike, you hit it right on nail on the head. It took him about 30 minutes to dress. He had to put the wrap on both legs. He started his ankle and go all the way to the top of his thigh every day, and he had that's the only way he could play. But I did not have a contract with one of the major sporting goods stores. Companies. So he asked me about that. He noticed I had an older glove and shoes, and I said, "No, I don't have a contract." That afternoon, you would not have believed all the equipment I had. It was unbelievable.
Oh, Rollins gloves and everything.
Everything. Warm-up jacket, the whole deal. And what was interesting was that I thanked him for it, and I remember what he said. He said, "Kid, you're now a Yankee, and Yankees go first class." So,
that was something. Well, you went that.
But I tell you what, Dad, I'm amazed by this guest here. You've written 11 books. You've had a national radio show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a radio radio show. I've had a radio show host or co-host for 14 years. I'm actually up to my 16th book. That needs to be updated. So, but it really. I got a book coming, gentlemen, next month, May 14th, that I've written with Coach Sonny Smith. Do you know the name?
Of course.
Oh, the great personalities in coaching.
Yes, and it's the first book. It's the first time that Sonny has disclosed some of his childhood. It's quite an interesting read. It's actually a combination of an autobiography and then ideas and suggestions for coaches and athletes about it's not about how to play the games. It's basically about the mental side. In fact, the title of the book is called "Winning the Head Game." So,
I love it. I can't wait to read that.
You know, one thing is, Wimp Sanderson and Sonny, people don't realize it, but Wimp Sanderson and Sonny are best friends. And, they were huge rivals. And those teams, those Alabama teams then, and those Auburn teams then, they were loaded with great talent, weren't they?
Absolutely. The 1992 game at Auburn was a game I had a chance to see. And I tell you what, there wasn't a better basketball game played that season than that particular game, I can assure you. But the other part of that is that while they were obviously natural rivals, they were always great friends. And then after their career grew with, they had the radio show. The reason I hesitate a little bit about that because that's how I got started in the radio business. I was in Birmingham, and Sonny and I were tennis partners. We played tennis together.
Oh, really?
And, oh, man, I tell you one thing. His favorite line was, "Get it, Lou." So we always kidded about that. You younger guys, you may not know this term, Mike will, but when we weren't playing very well, Sonny'd always make the statement, "Man, we couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie." We had to be watching the Roy Rogers movie stuff.
You wouldn't ever see a Wimp on the tennis court, would you?
No, Wimp was on the golf course.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little more. How did you get into your stockbroker career, and where did you spend most of your life after you left Troy?
Well, after I left Troy, I went to New York and became a part of the bond department at Merrill Lynch. They sent me to Dallas when they were getting ready to build a new airport and to sell bonds. Well, guys, I go to Dallas. There's four of us to head up that operation to raise money to build the Dallas-Fort Worth Petro Airport. And they signed us civilians to be kind of like captains of our teams. Well, my civilian captain was a guy named Ross Perot.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
And Ross helped me make a good bit of money. The interesting thing about that was that we outsold the other teams by $28 million ourselves.
Oh,
so he had a lot of contact. He would not take no, He'd tell them right off. He said, "We don't know how to spell no. Here, there's only one answer, and that's yes." So it was quite interesting. Then I stayed there in Dallas. I decided I like Dallas, so stayed there. And then after that, I went to, I didn't really particularly care for the broker's business because it's behind the desk type business. But I did find out I could do pretty good on my feet talking to groups. So I stepped in a position with a company. I answered an ad in the Wall Street Journal and got into the sales training and motivational business. Did that for 29 years. Retired again, and then got in the radio business. And as I mentioned, I go in with Sonny to the studio. Wimp didn't like to come in on Friday. He wanted to be on the tee, ready to hit golf balls. In fact, he'd do the show while he's playing golf.
Oh.
But, quite quite a different slant, I guess.
Well,
I lived in Birmingham for 17 years. I used to listen to Sonny and Limp every day. It was the best talk radio there was.
Yeah, I tell you, really was.
Has anybody ever written a book about my friend Sonny or my friend Wimp? Has anybody ever written that?
No. Let me tell you.
I bet you could sell 1 million copies.
Mike, the first part of our book is of Sonny's. It's called Sonny on Sonny. That's part 1 of our book, and he discloses some things in there that he had started 3 or 4 books with different people, but they wanted to have some real strong personal stuff in the book about his background. He didn't want to share that, but he has in this book. And I'll give you an example. Sonny was 15 years of age before he had electricity in the house.
God,
and had electricity, running water, and a bathroom. He was. They had to go down the mountain about. He was raised in Rome Mountain, about 2,000 feet up the mountain. It's a little town called Rome Mountain, and I can tell you for a fact that it is an interesting read. If it doesn't motivate you, and guys, we're going to profits from this book. We're going to give to a home that's for homeless kids. Now, Mike, we well know about the homeless kids, don't we? The kids that live in a home.
Yeah, the children's home.
With all the kids we had that played on that football team, you think about that.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea Coach Smith had this background.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of one of the coaches he would coach a lot against was Dale Brown at LSU. I think he came from real challenging background too. It's just something.
Well, I lived in Baton Rouge. That was after I left Dallas. I formed my own company and I had a speaking bureau, and Dale Brown was one of the guys that I had on my speaking bureau. So got to know Dale quite well. You're talking about a character now. He was a character.
Mm-hmm. All these coaches were in that era.
I
tell you what, Sonny is unbelievable doing the color for Auburn basketball games on the radio. I've really enjoyed that.
Well, let me tell you, we talk about that in the book, and the interesting thing about Sonny is the fact that they asked him about his preparation. He was doing TV before.
Oh yeah, that's when I used to see him at all the basketball games. He would be doing the color.
Well, he had it was. He would tell people, they'd ask him about, well, have you prepared for this? The announcers would. He said, yep, I read the stat sheet. That's the only preparation he ever did, he said.
Yeah.
But he would, he didn't get into all the team stuff. He'd learn a few names and their stats, and that was it.
Yeah, well, he signed a bunch of these guys from around here. He signed both the Person boys, didn't he? He signed both of them.
That's correct.
And he signed, of course, the big boy, who's one of the greatest of all time,
Charles Barkley.
Barkley
yeah.
from Birmingham. And
he is the greatest of all time in Alabama.
And like you said, we got Person, both of them out of Brantley, Alabama. And, it's a lot of tradition. And he was a real great
Now,
coach.
when is this book coming out? And
all right, guys, thanks for asking. It's May 14th. We're going to attempt to set the record for Amazon.com for a sports-related book, and I think we got a good shot at that.
Isn't that great?
The reaction. So here's what I'd like to leave with you from the book standpoint. If somebody's interested in receiving information about the book, then what we would want to do is just to email me at louvickery@louvickery.com. That's LOUVICKERY, louvickery@louvickery.com. And we'll make sure that they get all the information they need
That's great. Well, I'll tell you what, I really do appreciate you calling. I tell you, you go way back in my book, and I've.
Well, how did you end up in Troy? I want to know that.
Well, guys, I said when I signed my contract with the Cardinals at age 17, with a promise to my mother that I'd get a college education, and I was a 10-year student at Troy, guys.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of folks come and go, so it was a little at a time, but that's okay. We made it through. And
so you're a Troy graduate, and you just did it over throughout your baseball career.
Let me tell you,
I started
you made a lot of friends, including one William Davis, and everybody around here knows William. He's one of your best friends, isn't he?
Yes, it has been. We've been close for years. But I tell you, and even some of the kids that's on that, both the football squad and the cheerleading squad, Vicky McPherson.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we just recently.
Hey, we're calling from her studio. We're calling from Vicky McPherson's studio at Troy Cable. They own Troy Cable.
Well, I know that all of those kids, they were some wonderful, wonderful youngsters in that class.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you. It was fun coaching you. Let me just end this with this thing. I was a single man, and I was not far from being the same age as these players. And William and Lou and I we chaperoned these guys to New Orleans, for
the Sugar
a lot
Bowl.
of fun. Yeah, that's right, for the Sugar Bowl. Georgia, it was Georgia and let's see who else, Arkansas, I think. All right, and we took them and let them. We said, well, we'll let them go out and everything on the street, but y'all be real careful. And Mike, you're going to cover this, and I'll cover this. Talking about Lou and William cover this. Well, the person that was the last man to get back into the bus was me. I was the last man to get. The bus was waiting on me to get back in the bus so they'd go to the hotel.
Well, I will tell you something, guys. The one we had to take the most time with and to keep him out of trouble was the coach. Mike.
That's right. And I went in one place.
That's still the case today.
Hey, Lou, I'll tell you another thing too. I went in this place called the Red Garter, and I said, well, maybe the players won't find this here, and I went in the Red Garter, garden or gardener, whatever you call it, garment, whatever. I was hoping none of these guys would follow me in. Well, I go ahead and order me a beer, and I was of age I think back then, and turn around and about half the football team was also ordering a beer. So that's the kind of leader I was.
What did you expect taking these 17-year-olds to the Bourbon Street?
Jim had had an accident, and somebody was sick in his family, and he couldn't go. Jim Tompkins, he would have dominated it, but hey, he wouldn't have liked what he saw.
Sometimes
let me leave one thing talking about Jim Thompson with you guys.
Yeah.
We lost the first game that year off, and in the second game we were behind Greenville at halftime. And I remember Jim saying, "Keep your head up. Keep your head up. I want to see your eyes. I want to see your eyes." And I never forgot that. We went out, and little Jerry Bryant ran the kickoff back for a touchdown. And the next thing I know, we went on and beat that team. And they were good. We were behind by like 19 and nothing at half. And I think we won it 27-19. But that really jump-started our year right there.
And you look at that, Scott. Hey, we didn't. Those teams that we played back then were all good teams. It was a very.
God, it sounds like you could have been a head coach in the SEC if you would continued coaching football.
Well, I tell you, as I said, I really enjoyed that year. It just was not financially feasible for me to do it, and that's sometimes that's the way it is. Yeah. Got time for one quick story?
Yes.
We had we're talking about. I went to spring training with the Cardinals the last year that Stan Musier played, and Stan. When I went to St. Louis and signed my contract, Stan, I cited his wrestler, and he was there and was introduced to him. And now 4 years later, I go to spring training with the Cardinals, and he called me by my name.
Wow.
And to this day, I just was always impressed.
Stan the
with that.
Man Musial.
I imported that is, but
hey, they had a pretty good third baseman then that I sort of idolized a little bit. He was a good-looking third baseman. You know who I'm talking about?
What, Kenny Boyer?
Kenny Boyer, and his brother Cleet played for the Yankees. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was Cleet's roommate when I got traded to the Yankees. I
Well,
called him.
Yeah, and hey, let me ask this: have you ever seen number 7 on anybody's back on any sport that you know that ever could have made the Mickey Mouse 7? That is to this day when I see 7, I look at it as being Mickey Mouse.
That's his number.
Numbers,
but on his back he was a muscular guy too, and he could fly, couldn't he?
He really could. He could. I mean, in his heyday, guys, he first base 3.6. That's picking it up and laying it down.
That is really. They said if he could. Go ahead.
I was going to tell you, you don't think much about it when you're there, you're playing with them, but you look back over it later on in life and you say, "Gee, Manetti, just think of all the kids that would love to have had the same opportunity,"
Mm-hmm.
And even though I didn't get to stay because I hurt my arm, but it was the second week of the season. I was warming up of all things, and I unfortunately tore my rotator cuff, as I mentioned earlier. But hey, that's
let me just say one thing before you leave, to explain what it was then to be a AAA player. How many teams were in the major leagues then? Probably 16?
you had 16 major league teams then, and now you got 30.
All right,
so you can see a lot of AAA players.
A lot of those AAA players back then would have made it to the major leagues because of those other rosters, other teams' rosters. Baseball is sure changed.
I had a real strong reputation of getting left-handers out, being a left-hander, and so I know that. I have a friend, Bob McClure, that spent 20 years in the big leagues, guys, and I guarantee you won't find 5 people that remembers his name.
Yeah.
But the thing with Bob, he never pitched more than 67 innings in one season, but he could get left-handers out, and he made a living that way. So that's the way it was.
I like to call you.
That's called a specialist.
I'd like to.
Correct, you're right.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you one day on that. I'd like for you to call us back sometimes and let's
He's
get into it.
He's going to tell one more story, Dad.
All right.
Well, I was just going to mention one story about the books in the book about Sonny, and I always thought it was so funny. His dad, he and his dad didn't get along. His dad was a moonshine runner, and that's where Sonny, got. He's a big NASCAR fan because a lot of the original NASCAR drivers, well, that's what they did for a living. They ran moonshine, and Sonny, his daddy got in a new car and he was souping it up. And they were painted with house paint. They just put the house paint on it, and there's an old Plymouth. And interesting enough, that old Plymouth, we got out of gear, and since I lived on the mountain, it started rolling down the mountain. It went through a fence, through a cornfield, and picked up all kind of husk and tassels and everything else on that wet paint. And they so when his dad, he couldn't get them off. So he just drove that thing with tassels and husk and everything else flopping all through the wind, trying to, as he made his way on his moonshine runs. But
oh boy, yeah.
Let me just offer this as a side note. When the feds came, they would come to his house, to their home. Well, his mother would get in bed, and they put all the moonshine whiskey in the bed with her. They wouldn't wouldn't dare to check the bed with her in it. So. That's the way they were able to hide it. But anyway, guys, I've done a lot of books, but I have not done one that I enjoyed doing more than this one. And we hope that we get.
I want you to send me one. I want you to send me one of those books.
Mm-hmm. I'm a writer myself. I'll write a story on the book.
Yeah,
well, I appreciate that. That'd be great. send me your information.
P.O. Box
your contact
527.
information.
P.O. Box 527, Troy, Alabama. 36.
Well, I was thinking about so I can email them some material
Okay,
about the
I
book.
guess.
I'd
I'll
like
send
to
you
do
an
that.
email, and
Okay.
then I'll email you Mike's information too.
Yeah.
All right, please.
Thank you so much.
Well, guys, I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Hey, we'll look forward to doing it again.
Love to see you.
Come see us next time you're in Troy. Where do you live? Where do you live now?
In my car. I'm in Fairhope. I'm actually coming to Troy, guys. I'm going to be in Troy today. I'm meeting with Faith Hill, Mike over at the Alumni.
Oh, Faith, Faith Bird. What time you gonna be over there?
When I said Faith Hill, it's Faith Ward, isn't that right?
Yeah, Faith Ward, yeah.
Yeah, but she got married to Sim Bird, so she's now Faith Bird.
Yeah.
Oh, she did. She married Sim.
Yeah, she was married.
Well,
Of course, Sim.
I'm going to offer my congratulations to her. I mean, to him, and the condolences to her. Is that fair enough?
Well,
Well, Sim passed away.
yeah, you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Just recently.
That's right.
Just recently.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Had a-
I
had
started to ask.
Had a beautiful
Memorial ceremony
memorial
for
too.
him.
Yeah.
Just- Well, you couldn't
You
have
know,
known that.
Yeah.
I did not. That's the worst part, particularly when you get my age.
Do you know who is being buried today? Is
The guy from Greenville,
well, yeah.
played for John Archer.
Oh yeah, I thought I told you, but it was
I don't know.
well, gosh. Well,
Fairhope is a great place to live, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And guys, I'm the reason I'm coming through Troy because I'm going to Dothan. I'm playing in the state tennis tournament. I'm on the national Grand Prix tour for super seniors. There's 150 of us nationwide that play, and so I won my first tournament in Clearwater a couple weeks ago.
Hey.
But hey, you know what super means? I'll leave this for you guys. Super doesn't mean we're good. We're just old and still able to play.
All right, don't leave right now. But the funeral services for Bobby Terrell. Bobby Terrell died in Greenville.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But he was a great athlete.
Yes, he was.
And he used like to play tennis too. He played tennis a lot.
Right.
Of course, that.
You never know how many days or how long you got, guys. You just need to stay as active as you can, and I think that's super important. Really, it's just as long as we draw breath, we need to be active.
Well, thank you for calling this morning, and we'll look forward to you calling again sometime.
Guys, thank you so very much, and God bless all of you.
And we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back to today in L.A. Brought to you by all the fine sponsors on your air right there. Circle Insurance out of Ozark, one of the great insurers in the Ozark area, and we appreciate them. And of course, Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram truck on the bypass in Troy.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours. Not because it's free,
But because it's priceless.
because with my chart,
You can schedule appointments online with your provider.
you can email your provider and get answers,
Have a virtual visit.
get test results,
refill prescriptions.
and manage your family's health care.
You know how we all want healthcare to be easier?
but no one seems to listen?
Well, someone did.
Southeast Health.
To get your free My Chart app,
Visit your app store or go to southeasthealth.org.
When something's just right, it's more than a good fit. It's that perfect feeling. And at Badcock Home Furniture and More, that means just for you comfort. Find styles that move you at Badcock's Motion and More sale. Featuring new recliner sets like our remarkable Duke collection or our selection of Lazy Boy recliners. All with no credit refused. So shop what's just right at your local Badcock in Elba and Enterprise. Badcock Home Furniture and More. just right.
This is Barney at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and I'm here to nip this sale in the bud.
Hello, folks. This is Greg Anthony, sales manager at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Troy, Alabama, offering discounts up to $15,000.
Let's nip that.
0% financing up to 72 months.
We gotta nip that.
Barney, $5,000 over Kelly Blue Book for your trade-in.
You're killing the competition.
Barney!
Talking up the Arts Festival, yeah.
Of course, the Arts Festival is coming up tomorrow. I mean, actually, right now, Morgan Grinkard will be speaking for the folks at the Troy Fest, and of course, this has been an event going on for how many years now? Do you know, Ryan?
You know, I should, but I don't.
Long time.
If you count Jean Lake Arts Festival,
that's it, yeah.
That was here in the mid '70s. I bet Carol's the same way. Dad would go every year, and he would buy, or Mom, and they would buy at least one painting. So and then I inherited a lot of Mom and Dad's fine artwork, and a lot of those pieces came from the Jean Lake Arts. People remember artists like Bill Hill. I've always said, if you buy a fine piece of artwork, I mean, you're going to enjoy it for the rest of your life.
Well, I'll tell you this.
And then after your life's gone, you'll pass it on to your children.
If you, this guy, ladies and gentlemen, lived in one of the most beautiful homes in Troy. Down in the bottom, tell us a story about that home.
Who are we talking about?
Where you used to live in Troy.
Well, we grew up on South Hillcrest Boulevard in the home that the Rosenbergs built. Last house on the right, right next door to where my mom grew up, Kiki and KK.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, and then so when we moved back to Troy, our next door neighbors were our grandparents. That was neat. Then when the kids were out of college, though, for circumstances I won't go into, Mom and Dad then later bought a house on North Hillcrest across the street from Bebe and Ken Hendricks down in the hole. And so they really moved about 500 yards. Yeah. But the house I grew up in was the Rosenberg house on South Hillcrest Boulevard.
Well, that was some beautiful areas. Those were some of the two of the most beautiful areas in Troy. Would you call that Flavia? Was it Flavia?
The North Hillcrest house was right off of Flavia. I like Hillcrest because I like the trees and the shades. I like McGee Estates in Montgomery. I like neighborhoods that have got some history and charm.
Yeah. I lived in near Highland Park and Forest Park in Birmingham. That's where they originally built Birmingham from downtown, and golly, some of those houses over there are just incredible.
It's interesting to see the houses,
especially up on the mountain.
The houses that sometimes they get run down, and then you get the right people come back and fix them up, and that's always fun to watch. And then you have neighborhoods that are all senior citizens, but then you look up 10 years later, and it's all 30-somethings that are starting their family. And
exactly. Want to mention Bird Drugs on the square? They, Joe Watson, or the Birds and the Watsons. Mr. Watson. I mean, they actually started in 1940. With her dad being the pharmacist, Miss Bird, and then Joe Watson from here on. So, gosh,
I am working on a story for Troy Cable. We're going to start doing features and vignettes of great businesses and colorful people. And our first one is going to be on the history of Bird Drug. And so I had a long talk with Joe and Evelyn, and it's fascinating. I mean, Joe Watson, he wouldn't have become a pharmacist unless he had met Evelyn at Auburn. They became sweethearts, and then he started spending all his time in Troy, at Bird Drug.
Right, yeah.
And then that's what made him switch over to pharmacy school. And then he came back and was kind of an intern doing this internship that you have to do before you get your license. And Mr. Bird, Joe was only like 23 years old, and Mr. Bird had a heart attack and died. And, at 23 years old, Joe Watson was running that business.
And a great business it is. And they've been there since 1940. I want to mention also...
Hello, you're on Today in L.A.
This is Lou again.
Hey, Lou.
Are we on the air?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we're on there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I tell you what, I felt uncomfortable about the way I left it with Sim. Sim and I had remained close when his son Brandon, I believe it's Brandon, was going to sign, was being offered the money. Sim and I talked to him, and he was trying to tell me, he was trying to get a feel whether to take the money, go ahead and sign, or, go on to college. And my feeling about it is that if you get it written in the contract and pay for education, take the money.
Yeah.
In particular, now I know he wasn't a pitcher, but particularly if you're a pitcher, you want to take if they offer the money, take the money, put it in the bank, let it grow, and hey, you get a good start on life that way, even if you don't make it to the big league. So I just wanted to offer that, and because I felt a little uncomfortable not knowing that he passed away, because until probably the last 6 or 7 years we hadn't communicated much, but we did for a long time.
You and I watch a lot of football too, and it's not many quarterbacks that I've ever seen with that could do the things Sam Bird did. He was a great quarterback.
You remember Danny Grant?
Oh man, the great one. Yeah, Danny.
Danny and I shared a ride to Houston on a plane. It was just before the COVID situation, and we were both going out to Colorado. But he gave us a chance to talk about some of those games that they had, the great football team they had under Billy Atkins that year. So
it was a great time to watch football. It was
that sounded like a great time to be in Troy. I mean, you had some great college football, some great high school football.
Yep, we both had. It was the same season, and we both had those great years.
That's right.
That 68 year. But at any rate, I appreciate you guys.
But before Lou goes, who's the greatest tennis player of all time? Nadal, Federer, or Djokovic?
I'm sorry, I was interrupted. Ask that again, please.
Who's the greatest tennis player of all time? Nadal, Djokovic, or Federer?
Jimmy Connors.
I think Federer is. I think Federer, because the level of competition has intensified over recent years, and I feel comfortable in saying they're all great players, that's for sure. But Federer, to me, has probably been the greatest.
Oh boy, I tell you,
I would agree with that.
All right, now, guys, I want to tell you, you know what the secret to good tennis is?
Watch the ball.
Line calls. You got to. I have 2 line calls that descriptions that I use with my teammates. I said, first, call them as you need them, and when you're in doubt, it's out. So I'll leave that with you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Take care.
Lou.
We'll see you, Lou.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great one.
All right.
Of course, that's why this is such a great show, ladies and gentlemen. These guys don't want to leave us.
Well, I hope he comes and checks out our nice tennis courts we got in Troy at the Jimmy Lunsford Tennis Facility.
And also, Hook's Barbecue. Boy, what great barbecue that is. And somebody told me the other day. He says, I always enjoy the barbecue, but I always get a pint of camp stew to go with it. It is delicious. And
Michael was right that the Hook's ribs are just as good as the Dreamland ribs.
Of course, I want to mention Trojan Auto Parts and the Mike Kilcrease and Trojan Auto Parts, one of the very outstanding group of people, and we appreciate them being a part of our show.
If your bumper falls off driving from the beach to Troy, like mine did, he can tape it up for you and get you back on the road.
I knew that he would handle it. I just said, just go by Mike Kilcrease and he'd take care of us.
Yeah, go by and get your windshield wipers changed once a year.
Give us your report of what's happening this weekend in Troy.
Well, let's see.
I want to know more about Pike Arch baseball. That is huge.
Well, they don't know who they're going to play yet. As far as I know, I couldn't find that in the paper today. But
they got to do what? Beat 3 teams to win it all.
Well, those playoffs will start later on. The playoffs start tomorrow, but they don't play. I think they got to wait to see who they've got to bye. I believe, from what I understand. But Troy University baseball team will host Appalachian State this weekend.
That's going to be a good one.
And we're 4-8 in the conference and 16-9 overall. The Lady Trojans, of course, split versus Georgia Tech yesterday, and they'll travel to Appalachian State. And the Sun Belt softball tournament's coming up right around the corner, May the 12th through the 15th. And the baseball tournament's coming up in Montgomery, May the 25th through the 30th. And there's a lot of high school baseball that's starting this Friday in a doubleheader. Each team will play a doubleheader. And
best 2 out of 3.
Best 2 out of 3. And if they need a third game, it'll be on Saturday. And we've got several of
now, if it is the best 2 out of 3, I don't know if this is the case, but would the team go to the other team's
No, they would stay in that part. They would stay in that part. In other words, Charles Henderson travels to Mobile.
Yeah.
They play 2. If they split tomorrow, they'll stay in Mobile and play the third game.
Played against a very good team.
UMS Wright.
UMS Wright.
And let's see, we got Dale County playing at home versus W.S. Neal.
We've already got those.
Okay.
Pretty much. What is the you going to be at Troy Fest? What are your plans?
Well, I'm helping with the Boy Scouts Saturday morning. Dr. Runyon, he's got some Boy Scouts that need some archery instruction and all for part of their badges and things that they can receive.
I tell you what, nobody knows archery like this guy. He is Mr. Archery.
I never really like sports. Is sports a big bow hunter when it comes to deer? Do you like to do that?
You know, I've never been bow hunting, and I've never slayed a deer. I've been deer hunting.
Never slayed a deer.
But I've never had the opportunity. I mean, I've had the opportunity to shoot one.
Yeah.
But unless the big boy walks by, I just love watching them. And if I were to take one, I'd want to know ahead of time who would want the meat. Cause
we want to hit right now on another commercial. We'll be right back. Brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks. And we appreciate them very much being our sponsor.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours. Not because it's free,
but because it's priceless.
Because with my chart,
you can schedule appointments online with your provider.
You can email your provider and get answers.
Have a virtual visit.
Get test results.
Refill prescriptions.
And manage your family's health care.
You know how we all want healthcare to be easier?
But no one seems to listen?
Well, someone did.
Southeast Health.
To get your free MyChart app,
visit your app store or go to southeasthealth.org.
When something's just right, it's more than a good fit. It's that perfect feeling. And at Badcock Home Furniture and More, that means just for you comfort. Find styles that move you at Badcock's Motion and More sale. Featuring new recliner sets like our remarkable Duke collection or our selection of Lazy Boy recliners, all with no credit refused. So shop what's just right at your local Badcock in Elba and Enterprise. Badcock Home Furniture and More. Just right.
This is Barney at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and I'm here to nip this sale in the bud.
Hello, folks. This is Greg Anthony, sales manager at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Troy, Alabama, offering discounts up to $15,000.
Let's nip that.
0% financing up to 72 months.
We gotta nip that.
Barney, $5,000 over Kelly Blue Book for your trade-in.
You're killing the competition.
Barney!
Yeah, we were laughing and chuckling over the Premier Dodge Chrysler commercial.
And
with
go
Barney
see
Fife.
Barney Fife out there. Go see Barney Fife for your all of your car needs. And of course, Barney is representing one of the great automobile dealerships in this part of the country.
Let's ask a
Premier
trivia question.
Dodge
How
Chrysler
many
Jeep and
years
Ram
was Don Knotts actually on the Andy Griffith Show?
Probably about
it was
2.
less than you think. I
about
would
3.
say 5 years.
I'd say not long.
I'll tell you this, yeah. I love Don Knotts, and I watch Andy all the time.
Those are the ones you want to watch. The one which Barney was on.
And then you're right. You know,
was Don Knotts on Freeze Company?
Yeah, he was later in the
he was on there later on. And you know, my buddy with Three's Company that died very.
He was good too. John Ritter.
Yeah, Ritter was
he
great.
Was funny.
He really
was good. Yeah.
You know.
He's in my favorite movie of all time, Sling Blade.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's your favorite movie?
Oh, gosh.
Well, I love that movie.
Yeah, Well, my favorite actor is Clint Eastwood, and my favorite movie is Josie Wells.
I can tell y'all what I did this weekend. I referenced that Carrie and I have been binge watching Mad Men.
Yeah.
And both of y'all watched that when it was in its...
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, heck yeah. It's one of the best, obviously, no doubt about it, one of the best TV dramas of all time.
That guy's sort of a sleeper, the guy that starred in that show, you know.
John Hamm?
Yeah, he sort of you know, came on late, didn't he?
They were all unknown, I think, all the actors that they cast, and so well written, and it's a series you can talk about a long time because there's... You know, most of these people don't have a lot of redeeming qualities, but you're still interested in them.
And the problem is with me, I can't stand. I mean, I smoked for up until 1988, and in that movie, everybody's got a cigarette in their mouth. You know, I didn't realize it, but just think how many people were offended by smoke. You know.
They didn't say anything, did they? You're right.
I would have to say Mad Men and The Sopranos have to be my two favorite television dramas ever.
Here's what people mention.
5 years, Don Knotts.
5, all right, so good.
You're right.
Yeah. But he was good every
here's the contenders, as far as I know, from reading the critics' consensus. Sopranos, probably number 1. Mad Men's up there for number 2. A show called The Wire is highly regarded. And then my favorite, even I've watched both of them, I still think Breaking Bad was better than Mad Men. I've now watched both of them. Completely different shows and for different reasons, but I would say.
And that's a series, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like the same on AMC, just like Mad Men. It ran.
Where does Dallas fall? Dallas was a real popular.
Soap opera. I mean, you know, people mention Lost and you know the Twilight Zone series, and I mean, if you talk about TV series, you talk about Seinfeld, the Andy Griffith Show, I Love Lucy.
Oh yeah.
But I watched the show called Entourage. That was good.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. You know, what's the Tombstone? People say is really I've never seen it. People rave about it.
You know, Parks is looking at you over there, and he said, "Well, you know, I don't even have a television set. I will go back to my wood shop."
The only one that I had was Mad Men.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mad Men?
I like that that series.
You've never seen Breaking Bad? We'll check it out.
Michael's is coming up.
Tommy Lee Jones and Robert Duvall and Lonesome Dove is one of the best.
Yeah, I love that now.
That was a mini series. That was different. But you're right. It was fantastic.
I tell you, the great star in that, Mike, was
Robert Duvall.
Duvall. He is a great actor. I tell you.
Have y'all read the book?
No, I haven't read
the reason the miniseries is so good, it is almost word for word taken from the book. The dialogue and
that sounds like what my wife tells me all the time. I read the book. Yeah. She tells me that all the time when I talk about
I made my wife, who likes chick lit, Read Lonesome Dove, and it is one of her favorites to this day. She recommends it to her students, and they love it.
So Lonesome Dove?
Yeah.
It's got some X-rated stuff in there, doesn't it?
It probably does have a few scenes, but
you don't want your students to read it.
It was by a guy named Larry McMurtry, who just passed away, and it was he won all kind of prizes. It's considered a classic piece of literature.
You're right.
But the people that converted it into a miniseries just nailed it, so they did a great job.
They did. And of course, we hope that you have enjoyed our show, and we're laid back as we can possibly be. We're not trying to be. If he wants a cup of coffee, he can get up and go get him a cup of coffee. But we appreciate you watching our shows, and our sponsors mean so much to us. And
we got 3 minutes. Can I say something else?
Yeah, do please.
The draft's coming up, and we've been talking a lot about Mac Jones, and y'all have heard me say here a couple of times that I thought Mac Jones reminded me of a college version of Tom Brady, that he made good decisions and was a good leader and not athletic. You know who else just said the same thing I read? One Joe Namath.
Did he really?
Made the same. We all know there's only one Tom Brady, and he's in a class all by himself, but on the college level and coming out of college, he said that's who Mac Jones reminds him of too.
Now they made him stop doing it, but do you know the thing that the coach at Alabama had to break Joe Namath of throwing the jump pass? It says you're gonna get killed. Throwing that jump pass. And he threw the jump pass a lot of times. 40 and 50 yards. But they had to try to get him out of it because, of injuries.
I have seen pictures of him doing that. Yeah. How does he do it? He would jump up and throw it.
It's amazing that the other one was that old man that used to throw the jump pass.
Harry Gilmore?
Yeah, Harry Gilmore.
Good news for Troy basketball before we get off. Coach Cross, was mentioned that he wanted to get some transfers, and he got a big guy out of UTEP yesterday.
Wow.
6'9", 240 pounds. His name is, this is an interesting name, Effie Odighi.
Oh, God.
But he was the Conference USA freshman team selection. And the last couple of years he's been kind of going through injuries. But the guy averaged 12 points and 9 rebounds as a freshman at UTEP, which is not a bad basketball program. Yeah. And Troy's also got a transfer in from Kent State as well, and they brought in another junior college guard as well. So Coach Cross is trying to rebuild things at Troy.
No question about it. And of course, Forrest, you've been sort of quiet over there this morning.
We've had a caller, and I just kind of.
Of course, your hairdo looks good. I tell you, it's almost to the butch. Yeah. You know what a butch hair. Hey, you're almost to the bush. Just give us a couple more weeks.
I went by to see Raymond the other day, and he kind of cleaned up the sides for me.
Well, you tell old Raymond that he was asking me when can he come back on. He can come back on anytime. Of course, it's old Troy, and a lot of times we talk about old Troy, and we're just proud to be here, and we do appreciate you watching our show every day. Hope you have a good day. Y'all will be here tomorrow, and we'll be talking about Troy Fest,
and you don't know where we'll end up.
Go see Troy Auto Parts, get your windshield wipers changed because it's going to rain a little bit.
That's right.
If you know they've been needing changing, here's the time. Get it done today. They'll change it for you.
No question about it. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you even more. See you tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in L.A.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service.